What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got what is undoubtedly a way too early 2023 fantasy football mock draft for you. It's been about a week and a half since the NFL draft, so I figured with things having kind of calmed down, we know where these players have landed. Let's do our first fantasy football mock draft for the 2023 season. We're going to do this here on FantasyPros. It's going to be a 12-team league. We're going to draft out of the 5th spot overall. PPR format, our roster, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and then 5 bench spots. But that's pretty much it, so let's get into it. And while we wait for it to load, just a quick reminder, if you guys enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear in the comment section. Do you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have? We'll do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's take a look at this draft. So again, this is my absolutely first mock draft of the season. As you can see, the rookies of this 2023 class are included. Perfect example, Bijan Robinson for the Atlanta Falcons. He will be a first-round pick. Absolutely. I mean, the question is, how much do you trust that Atlanta offense? But the first 4 picks, McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson, Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley. I would have loved to have landed a Saquon Barkley, potentially running back here. I don't mind Jonathan Taylor in a contract year. He really has to kind of, have a pretty solid season. Wide receivers, I mean, you can't go wrong with a guy like Jamar Chase, maybe even Cooper Kupp. Question with Kupp obviously is the health of one Matthew Stafford, though. Let's take a quick look at our cheat sheet. And honestly, look, we know we're not going to go quarterback. I'm not going to go tight end. I'm going to go with probably a running back here. It's between Jamar Chase and I would say Jonathan Taylor. I'm looking at the list of running backs. I think there's more depth at wide receiver, and I in fact think there's some really high-end wide receivers that I can get in the second round. Maybe a guy like a Devontae Adams falls to me, or a Stephon Diggs. We'll see. But I think right now we go with Jonathan Taylor. It really is up to 3 players here: Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, and Jamar Chase. I'm going to go with maybe the chalk pick. I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor. Sure, you've got, Anthony Richardson there now, a member of the Indianapolis Colts. But is he going to start right away? TBD, one of those type of situations. He could take away some, obviously, rushing volume from Jonathan Taylor, but he can also open things up for him as well. Now, let's look at our draft board, and we can already see after our pick of Jonathan Taylor, there was a run on running back. So Tony Pollard, I do like Tony Pollard. Obviously, Ezekiel Elliott no longer there. He is deservedly so a first-round pick. Then Nick Chubb, Bijan Robinson, Josh Jacobs coming off his huge 2022 season. Ramondre Stevenson, interesting. Then Jamar Chase, Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill. So, Travis Kelce goes at the end of the first round. Cooper Kupp with the first pick in the second. Tyreek, Najee Harris, CeeDee Lamb, Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, and Kenneth Walker. So I think we're in a good situation, honestly, here to go with a wide receiver. And the wide receiver that I'm personally looking at is Stephon Diggs. I know I mentioned Devontae Adams before, but if I'm comparing the 2 quarterbacks, the Raiders, they're going to have Jimmy Garoppolo, whereas the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. So I'm going to go with the guy that I trust more offensively. That's Stephon Diggs. So let's just go ahead and add Stephon Diggs to this offense. I think we can, wait a little bit on running back, see what happens. Maybe, in the 3rd round, we'll be able to get some value. But after our Stephon Diggs pick, which I think, again, very, very good value, Travis Etienne, TJ Hawkinson, my guy from a while now, he goes in the early 2nd round. I don't think that's going to be the case once we get closer to like July, August. I think Mark Andrews, guys like George Kittle are probably going to be going earlier than him. We'll see. A.J. Brown then Devontae Adams, Mark Andrews, Garrett Wilson, Aaron Jones, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Man, I'm not going to lie to you. If Amon-Ra was there for me, would have been very, very tempting. Looking at these running backs and wide receivers again, look, so Dalvin Cook for the Vikings, he had a down year last year. I think he's kind of on the wrong side of it in terms of fantasy football production. I'm passing on him. Dameon Pierce, a little bit tempting, but we'll see. I think maybe somebody like Rachaad White for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is somebody that could be a little bit more useful. Miles Sanders with the Carolina Panthers. I really don't know how this thing is going to pan out. I think, wide receiver here continues to be a better value. I'm looking at Jalen Waddle. I'm looking at T. Higgins. I think Jalen Waddle will probably be a little bit more consistent. So I'm going to go with Jalen Waddle here. I really like the way our roster is looking. Let's kind of cue it up here and just remind you guys of our team. So looking at our roster, Jonathan Taylor, Stephon Diggs, Jalen Waddle. I really like our wide receivers. Jonathan Taylor, I know he had a disappointing season last year, but he's still very, very talented. Now, let's see what we can do here. Looking again at the draft board, a huge run on the wide receivers. After Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, Olave, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, DK Metcalf, J.K. Dobbins, Dalvin Cook, Mahomes goes, Dameon Pierce, then all these wide receivers as well. Cooper, Godwin, Hopkins, Keenan Allen, Deebo Samuel. I don't trust the situation in Tampa Bay without Tom Brady, so I'm passing on those wide receivers. So now looking at our cheat sheet, DJ Moore now in Chicago is tempting, but I already do have two very good wide receivers. So maybe I can wait until the next round and now here go with one of my running backs. I think Miles Sanders is going to be the workhorse guy for the Panthers. He's the best pass-catching running back for them by far. I'm probably going to go with Miles Sanders here as my RB2. Rachaad White also definitely tempting. He avoided getting, a rookie running back that will really, really challenge him via the draft. So I'm going to go with Miles Sanders here. Notice a guy like an Alvin Kamara for the New Orleans Saints all the way down there. Not only because he had a down year last year, but expected suspension. So that is something to keep an eye out for. I'm going to go with Miles Sanders here, though. Let's see what happens in this fifth round, who we have available to us. I'm looking at George Kittle. Honestly, I might go that direction, get a difference maker at the tight end position. So after Miles Sanders, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Jahmyr Gibbs. So, rookie alert after Bijan Robinson. I think he's the second rookie to go off the board here. I'm trying to see if there are any wide receivers. Not that I see any rookie wide receivers. Any other rookie running backs? No, I mean, Gibbs is the clear-cut number 2 rookie running back. So interesting to see there. Javonte Williams coming off his injury. Then DJ Moore, was really hoping he'd fall to me. David Montgomery, now with the Detroit Lions. Pittman, and then Tyler Lockett. So now there's some pretty good value at quarterback with guys like Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields. Wide receiver, there's Drake London. I don't trust the quarterback situation in Atlanta, though. So maybe I wait there. Terry McLaurin, similar situation. Don't trust the quarterback situation in Washington. So probably right now, again, I said it, I'm leaning either George Kittle or Rachaad White. You can never have, too many weapons at the running back spot. I think Rachaad White right now, you can make a case, I guess, for James Conner as well. They would be my next 2 best running backs. So let's take a gamble, though. We'll go with George Kittle. I mean, Brock Purdy and George Kittle, that was a great combination last year. We'll see. Purdy avoided a major surgery. So I'm going to go with George Kittle here and then see what happens in this next round. And I actually think I get kind of lucky because James Conner is still available there for me. And I know it's not sexy, but James Conner, when he was healthy last year, was getting the job done. There was also a run on tight ends. So right now, if Rachaad White was there, he'd be very, very tempting. Justin Fields went. So to me, the best quarterbacks at this point are Lamar, Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence the way they are ranked. James Conner is still there. Let's see if the guys that are drafting after me already have quarterbacks. So only two of them do. So it's a very real situation that we could see both Lamar and Justin Herbert be drafted. The question is, what do we do here? Do we go with James Conner at the running back position and get that situation taken care of? Or do we go with, a guy like a Lamar Jackson or a Justin Herbert and get the difference maker at the quarterback position? I'll throw caution to the wind and I'll take a quarterback here. I'll take a quarterback. I think one of our flex plays can be a guy like a Mike Williams or one of these other high-end wide receivers, maybe a Calvin Ridley, a decent value there. So I'm going to go with the highest upside quarterback here. To me, that is Lamar Jackson. I think potentially with all that drama with his contract out of the way, we are in a good spot with him. So it's just a matter of staying healthy, right? DeAndre Swift, interestingly, still available. Now, obviously, Miles Sanders no longer there. They did add Rashad Penny, so it's kind of a tough situation for the Philadelphia offense with the running backs. I like Swift, but maybe a guy like an Isaiah Pacheco makes a little bit more sense at the running back position. He was doing some nice things for the Kansas City Chiefs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire obviously on his way out, so I'll probably go Pacheco with a high upside pick here, and then let's just go best player available from here on out. A little bit bummed out that we missed out on some of these other value picks. So, for example, after Pacheco, let's see how much after Calvin Ridley went with the second pick in the 8th round. I think that's a very, very good value. Alvin Kamara with the first pick in the 8th round. Man, how the mighty have fallen. So I'm looking probably at wide receivers here. Jahan Dotson, Jacoby Myers, Juju, Gabe Davis. Elijah Moore in Cleveland is pretty tempting. I'm not going to lie to you. I think that it's a situation where, Deshaun Watson is going to have a better year, and playing opposite Amari Cooper, it's a nice little situation. I think Elijah Moore can benefit. He's talented. So let's add Elijah Moore to the squad. I just want to make sure I'm not losing any talent on tight ends or something like that, running backs. But no, so we can go and add, if our cheat sheet lets us, that is, Elijah Moore here. So let's go back to the draft. There is Elijah Moore. I like him a little bit more. I don't care if you tell me it's a reach. I'm okay with that. Now, again, just continue to get value. Khalil Herbert, I was a fan, but then you added Deonta Foreman. You add a running back in the draft. A.J. Dillon, opposite Aaron Jones, could be a decent value here. I'm looking at that. Jordan Addison, opposite Justin Jefferson, something to keep in mind. But I'm probably going to go with A.J. Dillon here. I think he's probably the best value at this point in time. Michael Thomas, you could argue, though, if he's healthy, that he's also a decent value. So let's do this. We'll take A.J. Dillon first, and then Michael Thomas, if he falls to us, I'll scoop him up. So let's see what happens here. We have a little bit of a run on, actually, I think it was running backs, looking at our draft board, scrolling down. Yeah, running backs galore. So I feel good with our running back situation. Let's add Michael Thomas, a guy that I feel like at this point hasn't played in like 50 years, but he's still talented. Carr is a much better quarterback than what they were working with last year, so feel good about that. Now looking at, I'm just going straight cheat sheet here. I mean, we're in a situation right now, it's early May, so Zeke and Fournette don't find themselves on teams, but they're going to be decent pickups wherever they go. Right now, I think there's some decent value at the tight end position if we wanted to get a backup tight end. I'm looking at guys like a Cole Kmet. He had a nice little season last year towards the end once the Bears figured it out. Greg Dulcich for the Denver Broncos. But honestly, I'm probably just going to continue to get value in my eyes at the wide receiver position. I think Adam Thielen with Carolina, he's the most talented wide receiver, the most experienced wide receiver on that offense. I'm going to go to Adam Thielen here, and then we are going to get one final pick, maybe a quarterback, something like that, high upside quarterback. Let's see what we have available to us. Is Anthony Richardson there? He is. Why not take a chance on him? I think Bryce Young is the better quarterback overall, but what Anthony Richardson can do with his legs is pretty tempting whenever he does get the start for the Indianapolis Colts, if it is this year. Let's see the draft grade that we get. Again, pretty early on. We get a B, so just kind of running down our roster, Lamar Jackson. We have one of those elite quarterbacks, Jonathan Taylor, Miles Sanders. I like the situation there. I'm higher on Miles Sanders, I believe, right now than most. Diggs, Jalen Waddle, I love our starting two wide receivers. We got a top-notch tight end in George Kittle. Isaiah Pacheco, I kind of feel meh about, but I think we did a decent job on our bench with Moore, with A.J. Dillon, Michael Thomas, Thielen. Then we also got Anthony Richardson, a high upside quarterback, as maybe even trade bait, something like that. But hey, let me know your thoughts. Again, if you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe. Let us hear in the comments section. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them all. But in the meantime, I'll see you guys in future videos.